Let's let a Liberty County School Board Workshop Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, 4:30 p.m. come to order. First off is discussion. Eddie?
Yes, sir. So, hey, thank y'all for short notice getting together. I had board member ask for this meeting, and I think it was good because social media got a hold of this over the weekend, and as I shared, you don't always get all the facts for social media, and a lot of times it just bothers me. But why people don't just make a call to the school board office or to one of y'all to ask, for specific questions? Because if they call y'all and you don't know, then you're going to call me, and hopefully we can get those questions alleviated. A lot of misinformation went out. I want to want to make sure I answer all your questions and give you an opportunity to share as well. Give you a little bit of a genesis on this. Last year was the first year for the PPP scholarships. Man, you might have to help me out on how many the state allowed. It was a certain number of thousand, tens of thousands, and then they about doubled it this year. So everybody could not get a PPP scholarship. What is a PPP scholarship? Well, it's basically like a savings account, an education savings account. We offer the HSA, where you can do a health savings account. So you can put money in that every month, and it can build up value, and you kind of use that for your insurance costs. Well, this is for education. This is brand new. Now, there's always been homeschool students back probably when all of us were, some of us older ones, and I won't call any names, some of us older ones, but you've always had homeschool students. But now, there's been talk for probably the last 30 years of vouchers, where somebody can take their tax dollars and use that to a school of their choice. The transition for that was really made when charter schools started popping up, when you'd have D&F schools. We don't have to look too far from here, and our neighbors, our good neighbors from Gadsden County, which had a bunch of F schools. It opened the door for charter schools to come in, and these were private companies who would come in, contract with the state, and those students could attend there, and their funding would follow them there, and that's how those charter schools made money. Those have not, in most cases, proven to be very successful. In some areas of the state, charter schools do real well for whatever intended purpose. You may have a charter school that specializes in art education or music education or some other specialty, and they may limit that to a few grades, or just middle school or K-5 or grades 3 through 5. But these charter schools popped up to try to be an alternative to a failing school. So that became state law quite a few under the Jeb Bush administration. But you've heard the term vouchers for a long time, and now the state has really put that into overdrive with Governor DeSantis with school choice. So now the student allocation that we receive per student, now that kid can take that money and put it, it's real important. The family don't get the money. It doesn't go into their bank account, okay? So I'll use Katie. If Katie has one of her kids and she wants to do that, they don't write Katie a check for $8,500, okay? It goes through a program called Step Up, and I sent y'all the Step Up. Y'all should have got that, and hope y'all had just an opportunity just to peruse it. I've got a copy here if we got some specific questions we want to look up. But Step Up is the group that was designed from the state to handle that, the administration of these PPP scholarships. When that student or that parent says, I want my kid to receive a PPP scholarship, they no longer are Liberty County School District students, okay? That's a very important thing to understand. Parents are struggling with that because all they know is all we know is that everything in the school district is free. The bus ride's free, the ball playing's free, the clubs are free, the class, we're not paying to go to Liberty County High School or Hosford or Toller. But when they make that transition to that savings account that goes through Step Up, they are no longer considered Liberty County School District children, okay? That's a very important thing to understand here. Now, they're our community kids. They're always going to be our kids, But on paper, they're no longer district kids. We don't have any control over the curriculum that's taught. We have, and when I say control, oversight, that's a better word. We don't have any oversight on anything that they do academically. Now, the state through FHSAA has said that private schools and these people who receive these can still participate in your extracurricular sporting events. That's been the case for a while now. So that's where a student can now, probably as recent, Boo, and you and Jason and I were all in school back in the 80s and the 90s. You had to live in the district, you had to live in the county. Well, obviously that's changed in the last few years. You can live anywhere as long as you can get to that school and your parents are okay with getting you there within, unless you can't be recruited, but you can go play wherever you want to, as long as you got a way to get there and to participate. So this has changed. Last year was PEP. They doubled it this year. Next year, there's going to be no limit. Whoever in the state of Florida wants PEP scholarship will be eligible to receive a PEP scholarship. That's a real game changer for the public school system. I personally feel, and I'm going to just put a little opinion amongst the facts. I feel like it's a real dismantling in a lot of ways of the public school system, because at the end of the day, it costs us the same amount of money for the electricity, for custodial staff, for most everything we do here, whether we're at 80% capacity or 100% capacity. Where we do have the opportunity to have to make adjustments based on enrollment is staff. Okay, so this year we've done that. The last couple of years we've lost students after COVID. A lot of them did not come back. Had a kid come in today, wanting to join adult school, 17 years old, 2 credits. Hadn't done anything for the last 3 or 4 years, nothing. And so we deal with those kind of scenarios. And we do have an adult school program, but we try to get them to do some kind of home education program on their own or something. We try to assist in that because we don't want those people can count against us for dropouts. So we're going through this new change now. But what happens is, at the end of the day, if the students start falling away, we got to do a reduction in staff. So this year was just like every other year. Can we absorb some positions? I'll give you a fine example. We had 2 guidance counselors at Hosford. Hosford is down a lot of students. We're down to 1. We absorbed Miss Becky's position. So we only have 1 guidance counselor at Hosford now. We've absorbed as much as we can. Nowhere more than the county office. There was a lot of extra positions up here, and slowly but surely those have gone away and we've absorbed, and it's got people working more, and I know that, but we're trying to keep people employed as much as we can. But I can go on and say, depending on what student enrollment looks like, there may come a time we're going to have to do a reduction in force where we have to make sure that our ratios are in line with our funding. Okay, so this money is set aside for that. The PEP handbook says exactly what we are doing. It's they're paying that teacher, whoever they've chosen to teach, and we know some of those in the county. They pay them to teach, and then any extra curricular thing, if they want to come to the school and take a class, they may say, you know what, I'm going to do that schooling over there, but I want to come take an ag class. I like Tyler Stademeyer, and I want to take an ag class. Well, they can. So we talked about, can we charge them for that? Because they got the money's there, but can we charge them? The answer is a resounding yes. I've run this to Bob Harris, who's our litigating attorney through PAC, and FADS, 100% legal, and the thing that it was illegal on social media is just not true. Talked to Brian Moore with FADS. We're in good shape with what we're doing. Miami-Dade did it last year. Nobody messes with Miami-Dade. For whatever reason, they don't mess with Miami-Dade. This year, it started out Walton County had joined that group. I've been talking to our PAC superintendents since January, February, saying, guys, I feel like this is the direction that Liberty County needs to go. What do y'all think? Well, they all agreed, but nobody wanted to pull the trigger. So we did a lot of vetting. We talked to Bob. Bob said, you don't need to charge too much. Don't charge enough where you can't justify it, number one. And number two, you don't want to make it so cost prohibitive where somebody says, well, we can't afford to do that even on a scholarship. We felt like $250, or well, number one, let me tell you about the classes, $285. Where did that figure come from? $285 for a class is what we pay Florida Virtual. Some of y'all in this room, your kids have taken Florida Virtual courses through Liberty County High School, and guess what? Liberty County School District paid for it, and we paid $285 a course. So we felt like that was apples and apples. We charge the same amount that Florida Virtual charges. That's a good starting point. Do we deserve more? Some other districts are getting a lot more than that, but that's what we came up with. The second thing was your extracurriculars, okay? And I'm talking about specifically athletics. We looked at that. What's a fair thing for that? We figured $250 a semester. So if you play football and then it starts into basketball, you're going to pay $250. It goes over to another semester, but since it started this semester, it's going to be $250. If you play all three sports, it would be $500. If you play football and baseball, or football and softball, volleyball and softball, it'd be $500. We felt like that was a reasonable fee. If somebody wants to be very specific on what we're paying for fees, it's almost like the lawyer who says you don't ask the question unless you know what the answer is. We pay coaches, we pay, and I just wrote a list of things. And when I start doing the math on that stuff, it's very substantial. We pay coaches, we have facilities, we have field maintenance, we have building maintenance, we have uniforms, we have assistant coaches, we have insurance, we have liability insurance. That kid goes out and breaks their neck. God forbid you have a situation like we had with the boy from St. Joe. That's on us. We have to pay that through our insurance that we pay the premiums for. So there's a lot of things in here that go into that. We felt like $250 was fair. We had made, when we talked about it at the last board meeting, we approved all this. Some of y'all may mention, is it enough? And I say probably not, but it was where Bob encouraged us to start. Okay. Now I can tell you that the minute that y'all approved this at the last board meeting, all the other school districts woke up, and I really wanted them to do it before school started to give people some time. Now, one of the things that I'll just kind of give you an idea of who's approved this. Today, Holmes County approved it. And they took our sheet, identical sheet, put their name on it, and they approved that. Washington County, I sent y'all that. Now, if you look at, Holmes has the same figures that we have. Washington County approved this 5-0 yesterday. They're charging $500 per academic course and $500 per activity. So $500 for each thing. So that's quite a bit more than what we're charging. I think we're very conservative. Jackson County will be approving theirs next Tuesday. They have one, it's $400 for those classes. Again, ours is $285, theirs is $400. And then they're doing $400 per semester for extracurriculars. So again, higher than ours. Now, I could make a great argument that we should match them, but I sure didn't want to go over them for the situation. One of the board members mentioned, says, what if somebody says, well, it's cheaper for me to go play over here? That's what I don't want. I encourage all the PAC guys, we all need to be on using the same figures. I begged them to, but nobody wanted to put their neck out. I did. And it was too low compared to what they want to do. But they got to do what they want to do. I'm okay with the $250. I hope you're okay with the $250. So that's where we are. Now, what we approved, y'all approved last time, was that to do that for charge the PEP kids who are getting the money and any traditional homeschool kid. That I'll go back to Katie's thing. Let's just say Katie and her husband wants to homeschool their kid, but they're going to use maybe some stuff they get online. They're not getting paid any state dollars, and they may use something they pay $200 or $300 for out of their pocket. Maybe something called a Becca, which is a curriculum out of Pensacola. It's a Christian curriculum I'm familiar with. Let's say they do that and they pay that. They're not getting remunerated from the state. We're not going to charge them this year. For them to have to cough up that money because they're not getting money, that seems to be what the other districts are doing. They're leaving those traditional homeschool students harmless, at least this year. Now, Holmes went ahead and charged them, okay? And as of our last board meeting, we charged them. My agenda item tonight was to exempt the traditional ones because timing, it was so quick right here, boom, we need some money. And they don't have no money coming in. The PEP scholarship kids, do have money coming in. I've spoken with some PP parents, and and this was an honest conversation with one of them. We really expected y'all to do this last year. Was kind of shocked that you didn't. We're okay with it. They come in paid today, thought it was totally fair. I see where that could probably pull away from a teacher's salary if the teacher thought they were going to get X amount of dollars, and now some of these PEP fees are coming back, to the district. There's not a scintilla of retaliation in my heart. I'm not mad at these people. You won't find anybody in this district that says Kyle Petty's against homeschooling. My own kinfolk are doing it, and that's okay. Here's what I say about homeschooling, and I'll put it on the record tonight. If a parent, as a conservative Republican, if a parent says, this is what I feel like is best for my kid, God bless you. We want you, I pray that you do it well. And if the district can help, we'd like to help. We hope that you come to school here. We feel like we got it going on here. But if that's what you feel like, then go with my blessing. But so there's no retaliation against any group that's receiving this money. What this is a legal way for us to recover things that we are paying for. And I think I think what we're seeing now is the other school districts saying, yep, we need to do this. They were just waiting for somebody to start it. I talked to FADS yesterday and today, talked to their legal team, and they said, don't stop. This really needs to happen. Otherwise, we're seeing other districts that are really struggling. Holmes County is bleeding students. I know some of y'all talked to their board members. They're really struggling to make ends meet financially. They're really struggling. And so I see that. I'm trying to be proactive here. We don't have any beachfront property in Liberty County. We don't have an interstate coming through here. We don't have any hotels that are generating taxes for our schools and for our county. We've got to be very careful. And I don't want to ask for something that we are not entitled to. I don't want to ask for something that's unfair. But when this funding goes with that student and they can use it, and then they're receiving a benefit from the school district, and it's fair to charge them for that, the nominal amount that I've asked y'all to do and y'all have already approved, I think that's more than fair. I do think, as one of the board members and I talked, I do think we need to have the conversation for all the others. There's about 71, 72 PP kids, and there's over 100 traditional kids, okay? All of that could easily become 171 PP students next year. And if they don't ask, then that's on them. They can. And I mean, I don't like to advertise that, but I'm just saying they'll be able to. I'm saying we need to have an infrastructure in place that if they choose to use the district for what we have to offer, that there's a little bit of skin in the game on their part, because it's not coming out of their pocket directly. It's coming out of the money that would have come out of that funding if they would have been here. And I think we do need to talk about those traditional kids. Is that fair to ask? Right now, that's the policy, and I'm asking y'all to exempt them tonight. So that's where I'm at. And again, I want y'all to share. I know Mr. Keever requested a workshop, and I want to make sure everybody's heard and gives their opinion, because I think we shared that there'll be kinks in this, and we knew there would be some, but we want to make sure that we're not being swayed by social media pressure, because that's always almost never right. I've shared people who really have issues. They'll come talk to you. They'll come talk to you, and they'll make time to come talk to you if it really is something that's a hot issue in their heart and their mind, and it's something that affects their family and especially their pocketbook. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so, Mr. Chair, I'll give it back to you. And if anybody's got questions, I'm here to answer anything.
I got a question on it. How does a PEP student or parent go about that they are going to pay for it? They okay, yeah, I'm good with it. Even if I'm not good with it, I'm gonna pay. How does the district track that, or how does the district accept the money? I mean, you got to come in cash? Do we have an account? Do we give them an invoice beforehand for them to turn in to step up or whatever? I mean, how's that going to work? There's 71 of them at this point. So how's that?
And some of them may be elementary kids that aren't playing any of that.
Yeah, it's going to be the ones
Right,
depending on what they're doing.
So the people who already had the and new people, new awardees have not actually gotten their funds yet, so they won't get theirs until September. People who had it last year have already gotten it. So, for example, we had someone come in today, pay the fees. I wrote a receipt, had all the things they've got to have on there, and then they submit for reimbursement through Step Up. So it would be this. Right, so, and it's on the list, like they can go through their local school district to pay for things, so they're able to. It would be the same as if they went to Walmart and paid for school supplies and then turn in that receipt. So we're giving them a receipt that they're gonna turn into Step Up, and then they are able to pull that money down from there. So like Walmart is not a vendor. I mean, it might be, I don't know, but I'm quite sure Walmart is not filing for reimbursement through Step Up. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, in this instance, say I've got a kid that's got a PEP and all, and okay, I'm that one that doesn't get it till September.
Right.
You know, it's just like with all the school
So-
teachers, your first check comes,
Yeah.
everybody's gotta
Right.
wait. So-
Money and when they got their.
Yeah,
get
so what
reimbursed.
we had discussed was either holding their check, and this is one of those kinks that we're not really sure about. And I did not know that they don't get their money until later if they're new. So either holding their check until their funds are released, or they don't pay until September, one or the other. But I think that there are very few new ones, and so we're aware of who those people are, so we will probably,
And just work with them.
yeah.
And try to.
I mean, that's the question I'm trying to ask. So you got some that are just starting, they ain't got it in
Right, they're not
September.
cashing
Here
the
they are
check.
playing football, you know, or volleyball or
Right.
whatever.
If you know they're gonna get the scholarship, we'll work with them. We'll work with, and I told Katie, she said, what do you want me to do? I said, we'll work with them. If they're on, and we know if they're on that PEP list, so we'll work with them on that.
Okay,
Go ahead.
you done?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I do have some questions because, apparently we've got no guidance from PAEC. None of the districts have, on what to do, how to lay this out. And I will add to that list that Calhoun will be pushing for this. It's coming. It's probably gonna come around September. I did talk to Daryl Taylor, and he said he wished he already had it in place. But, he, you know, I said, we'd be glad to share ours, you know, and I know you talk to him on a regular basis. Where does the PEP money go? So we collect this PEP money. Where's it going? Is it really going back into the?
How about on the fees?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the fees.
General
Where are
fund.
we sticking
Put it in
it?
general fund.
Okay, I mean, are we creating a special place that we can track this money, that if anybody ever come back and audit it? So to say,
To a project number.
okay, so there'll be a project number or something, because it's,
In the general fund.
In the general fund, but have a project where I could pull a report and say, hey, here's what we collected on PEP fees for 25, 26, and I say, hey, there, bam, that's what it was.
I have a feeling it's gonna be audited. You know, and it's coming, so I just recommend that.
They will,
we-
they
we
will, they
do
absolutely
this.
will.
I was looking, I got another question. Where does the homeschool, just traditional homeschool, and we lose those dollars when they go to homeschool, correct or not correct?
Not correct, well, yes and no. So some just do what they do. They'll get their own curriculum, they'll pay for it, and they've done that traditionally.
Where does the money for the student?
Tax money,
Yeah, where's
in
the
the
tax money
ether.
go? Huh?
state keeps it.
State keeps it.
In their coffers?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so it really,
Doesn't go.
it never filters to us at all. Okay.
Right.
So approximately that's 8,000 to how much, depending on,
Here, just a base FTE kid was 8,400.
okay, okay. And we're looking at right now, because I thought it was 70 students total that were out or PEP
PEP.
and so it's over 100 now?
About 170.
Okay. And how many homeschoolers?
All of them.
No, I'm not, but PEP,
Oh,
the traditional
100,
ones.
about 100.
Okay,
Traditional is around 100,
okay,
About
all
100.
right.
but that's everyone.
70,
That's the
so-
little ones all the way up. So that's not all playing sports. Those are
Right.
kindergarten.
Right. I think you told me 17 of the PEP students were actually playing.
And that's even a tentative number because, you know, we don't know the Hosford kids who will make the team and those kind of things. And then you'll have other sports throughout the year. So that's just kind of what we're looking at initially as of the day I told you that.
Right. So something that was brought up to me today, and I do need to share this. And I know I just want us to set this to the side because I know it's going to be brought up and probably already has to some of you is the PEP students that's having to pay. A lot of these parents are the parents that get out there, line the fields, help the coaches, volunteer, do a lot of fundraising, a lot. So I just want to set that premise, because there's a lot of talk about that. You know, well, what about all this time I take off work? We're the parents that get out there and get involved. My answer is it's fair for all. Thank you for your service, but I do expect that we'll lose some of that volunteering. Because I don't feel like that, we paid for it now, so we're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna do it. That might happen.
Mhm.
One thing that I through all of this that I think is very important, and I still go back to, and Kyle and I have had some conversations. We've agreed to disagree on some things, but what are we doing to find out why the children left and how we can get them back? How are we reaching out and going, hey, I heard last year some students quit because they missed a cheerleading deadline. Or it might be discipline, something like that. I still go back to, it's not the era that we grew up in. My mom and daddy made me go to school. It was public school. That's all you had. You didn't go to school. And if you was sick, you wasn't outside playing, and you darn sure we didn't know what video games were. But today's world with our governor and our government pushing parent choice, parent choice, parent choice. Yes, he loves our teachers. But on the other side of things, you can go to homeschooling, you can go to charter school, you can do all these other great things that don't take 5 days a week. Oh, and you can go on vacation with your family too, But I still feel like with the impact, and I have talked to some other districts, what can we do to market public education? It's almost left up to us because our government's not doing it. And we can say, well, we've got 8 schools. That's great. Well, that's wonderful. But we're losing kids. Something's happening. And I've talked about exit interviews. I've talked about this, but if we continue to increase like this, you're right. We're going to cut some staff. We even may get to the point of closing schools before it's over with. I don't want to say the sky's falling, but come on. It went from 50, now it's over 100. And every district is experiencing this.
Right.
We're all in this together, but there has to be some serious conversation. I would love for PAEC to address this. Market public education like they're marketing homeschooling, because we're on our own. And I really would like to know why are we losing kids? I get some of it. I understand some of it, but our kids are walking out the door. And then some of them are coming back and don't even know what grade level they in. That's sad. That's sad. And guess who's going to take the brunt of all of this? Our public education. So I don't know how we do it. I don't have the solution. I would love to sit here and tell you, hey, I don't want to walk out on a limb by ourselves either and do something stupid, but this is key right now. We've got to start finding out and having some serious conversations about what's going on. I see it. And then did we ever answer Holly Schuler's email? Did you answer her email?
Holly Schuler?
Yeah.
I don't have nothing.
Okay. She sent an email yesterday at 7:33 p.m. So, you ain't seen it? Okay. All right. And this is kind of in her email. No one has ever taken the, or hasn't taken the opportunity to understand the reasons behind my decision to begin homeschooling. Like you said, if you want to do it, that's fine. But if there's a reason, let's find out. We need to find out. And if we can fix it, then let's fix it. And I'm telling you, to me, and I know we talked about this, I've talked about this with Kyle, I hadn't talked about it with the board members, of course, but if it's missing a deadline, yes, I see both sides of that. But that just that don't sit well with me. That just don't sit well with me. I mean, that's over $16,000 just walked out the door. We ain't getting it back. So
I'd be happy to go next. So I'd like to say thank you, Kyle, for scheduling this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here for an extra hour. I know I'll keep you this hour, and I'll probably keep you a little bit too long on the next meeting. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I hope everyone clearly understands how grateful I am for y'all. I realize, not completely, but in measure, how much hard work y'all do for the school. I know that you deal with the good, the bad, and ugly, as they say. I know you go through a lot, and I know you deal with a lot, and I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your work, and nothing that I say here today is meant to take away from anybody's hard work. I know you're doing your best to serve the kids of the community, and that's why we're here, 100% to focus on the kids. So I appreciate, Kyle, you answering a lot of those questions that I've had calls about right out of the gate, pertaining to how PEP works, the legality of it, other counties that are doing this already, what fees they're charging. I think that's great information to get out in public, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to have a workshop here today. So we're very transparent with the things that we're doing, because in government and in Liberty County government, I think transparency is key. People need to know what they're getting for their dollars, right? They deserve to know what their neighbors are doing that are affecting their lives. I think that's first and foremost and the basis of all the conversation I'd like to have today, and one main component of holding this meeting. So the kids, I think it's where it's at, doing what's best for the kids. I will say right out of the gate that I am an individual that is in favor with a charge for kids that come to play athletics or participate in, say, schooling, whether it's, academic or extracurricular. I am in favor of that. But I will say, personally, I would be in favor of a pause because of information and clarity that we would need to go over pertaining to what's happening. So if I'm understanding right, we have about 17 kids at about $250 a piece. So we have right at $4,250-ish we think we're going to be collecting from these fees. I really appreciate what Miss Jody said. It is exactly what I was thinking and where my heart is at. I think if people misunderstand or misinterpret the desires we have or the intent we have for doing something, it creates discord, unrest, anxiety, hostility. And I think it's important for people to understand where we're coming from. If we have $1.428 million that's not coming into the school district, right at $1.5 million because the kids are at home, I think without question, we owe it to the children and the parents of the county to know why they're not here in the school. I think there are things that we may never be able to do to get them to come back or to stay here, and that's okay. They have their choice, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree with and respect that choice. I think that everybody should respect that it's good citizens, Christians, just good people to respect people's choices. But business and operationally, we need to know why parents are pulling their children out, or why children want to be pulled out. I don't know which one it is. I think one step ahead of an exit interview, and I think it's a great idea to have a formal exit interview process by an automated system. If somebody wants to sit down and do a personal interview, or an email, if someone wants to sit down and do an automated system or a personal email, to find out from both parents or both custodians or guardians of a student why they're pulling that kid out or why that kid wants to go. But I think that a component before that is some type of, and maybe we have this, is there something in place to formally track complaints to try to get ahead of why somebody might want to leave? Like it, or when, and I know that administration, principals, when you're dealing with a baby and it doesn't go just right, you're going to get a complaint. It just, that's how it is. That's just how it is. That's how it's always going to be. Somebody's going to fight for their baby. I get it. Is there a formal process to say, okay, we go into this system, Mason called complaining about Ashton because Ashton was bullied in the lunchroom. Do we track and see when complaints come through and what's happening to try to find a trend or a pattern to try to indicate why somebody would be pulling their kids out? Now, maybe it would be transparent at that time up front, maybe not, but for sure in the exit interview, which we may have lost that opportunity to provide public education for that kid forever. Maybe not, if we make actions that suffice the desires of the guardians, custodians, parents of the child, maybe we can change things, appearance of things, and maybe they come back. But 100% I agree with Miss Jody. We have absolutely got to track and understand why it's not just dollars. It's not just losing $1.5 million every year, but what have we done that has offended or hurt or whatever it may be that child, and what can we do better? Now, again, I led with, I think our teachers are great. I think our administration's great. I think people are great. I don't know about you and your personal family members, but you know what? I said when I went and worked for the county, somebody said, hey, are you gonna be all right working in this group? I'm like, listen, I'm from a dysfunctional family. I can handle this great. All right. There's some dysfunction in every family where people are at odds and don't get along, but at the end of the day, you love each other. That's going to happen when you have kids involved. But if we can track and understand why these kids are leaving and really know that, maybe we can bring them back. But in the end, in the very least, what we can show the community we're doing is that we care. We have a formal process to try to fix it. And then when we go to something like this to charge for an athlete coming in, it's like, listen, we don't want to have to do this, and we're trying to keep people, we're trying to bring them back. But this is the state of our school system right now, where our kids that are in the district, they're being charged, and we can't just take money from other kids to pay for your kids to come in to be able to play sports or play ball or take a class. When I said this about the kids, it's all considered. I don't believe it's right to take money from one to pay for somebody else that's not going to come in and pay. I get they pay taxes. I 100% get that. I think as a society, we absolutely want to pay taxes to develop a good community, competitive advantage in markets, industry, growth. That's why whether you have a kid or grandkid or anybody in schools, you pay to schools to have a better community. I get that component of it. But I think if we're going to do this, my personal opinion and desire is to say, hey, listen, we have a focus. We're focusing, tracking complaints. We're doing exit interviews to decide why people are leaving. We are keeping up with all this. And in the meantime, we hope you come back. But in the meantime, there are these charges that are going to be applicable. We ask you to come back to school. What can we do to bring you back where you want to be taught in our classrooms? Now, what can we do? Maybe we can't. Maybe we can. So I think the appearance is the priority here to make it not just appear but show desire. They see our desire. I think all of us want the kids to come back, but sometimes they don't recognize it because they don't see the call or the action or the desire, because we're trying our best to keep up with our work schedule and workload, and we're short-staffed, and we're doing our best to try to get, changes in the meetings for the beginning of a school year to just try to make things work. I get deadlines, and I know that happens, but I think if we show our focus is shifting to we're focusing on the student, we want to help the student, we're trying to do our best. We ask for your patience, your love, respect, but this is now our policy to do this. So I say that, and I would really like the data that shows this sport costs this, there are this many kids in this sport, their technical price just for coaching maybe is this. You know, what we're asking for is this, and show that it's less. You know, I asked for a pause again because is it the right thing to do to charge by semester? I'm not so sure. It was Washington that charged by the activity. I would be more inclined to charge by activity than necessarily by semester personally. That's just my thought. Now, I don't know if that creates a PEP problem or schedule, but I think that would be the right thing to do is charge by activity. Now, you got to good and well know if you play football, there's going to be more of a cost on football than beach volleyball, right? So, and if we can show, hey, listen, we have $20,000 that go to coaches every year. We have 30 kids. We have 600 and something dollars per kid that it takes just to pay the coach. And then we pay another $50 a year for insurance that we're required to have, right? I mean, you got $650 per kid for coaching insurance. We're asking for, maybe it stays 250, maybe we change it if it's by given sport. So I would really like to examine maybe the thought process, the mentality, and show people this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. It's itemized out for these reasons. You know, I had somebody ask me the question. They were like, what if you have a 4-star, 5-star running back that wants to come to Liberty County because his great granddaddy, you know, lived here and he wants to be a part of it, but he comes and he says, I ain't paying $250 to play football. Are we going to say, buddy, you playing $250? You ain't playing football and it's a 4-star running back? But like, come on in, man. We'd be happy to have you. But then can you do that? Are there scholarship opportunities? Are there sponsorship opportunities? I think it's important to weigh out.
That part's illegal.
You
That
can't-
part's illegal. You can't
say-
sponsor a player to come.
So it
They
has to
can
be.
get paid to play though.
He can
Can get paid to play.
They can do
There's a
some
way to
NIL stuff, but you
So
can't.
somebody could pay him to
Yeah.
play, and then he could end up spending it. Is what
Correct.
you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, well, that answers that question. So thank you for that. That was a good one. So middle school, is this applying to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th? This is across the board, right? All athletes,
Yes.
all academics through high school. I'm assuming it's only high school that the 285 applies, right? That they're doing these classes. So I would really, again, I am in favor of this happening, but I would like it to be paused until we can work out some details that provide clarity to the community, where the community knows exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and they see the reasons behind it. In other words, $4,200 ain't going to make or break us until January. You know, if we have to hold off by the way this works, where okay, these sports start and we can't, if we don't hit this semester in time, we're going to start January. You give everybody notice, they know it's coming, they can save for it. You know, and I know I've talked for what, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I apologize. I want to make sure people know that their voices are heard and that we care about their voices and that we are consciously giving them opportunities to speak, but we are doing what we believe is best for all the kids, right? We're considering the kids in the district because that's the primary responsibility we have for, right? The students, that's our primary responsibility. But fairness and respect in general, I think, is a must because we want to build confidence in our system and have people believe in us. And I think, you know, maybe people will care if we give them more time, maybe they don't. You know, that's just a few of my thoughts or ideas to throw around. And I would imagine all of you have received so many calls and had so many conversations, and y'all have maybe ideas and things to think about as well. What I'm saying is I don't want to rush this, and I would like to have procedures and things in place where it shows we do care that kids are leaving and we want to bring them back. That's maybe
I
it
do
in
want to add
nutshell.
one thing. We've always had a homeschool population. It is bigger now, but people have always had the opportunity to choose to homeschool. And I think you all hear from people when they're mad. People call their board members when they're mad. Most of our homeschool families are homeschooling because they have chosen they want to be able to do that. I'm the only member of my family who did not homeschool their children. I worked and I was, you know, we were at the schools with our kids. So I don't think that most people are mad when they're pulling their kids out. It is a very small group of people like the ones that you're talking about with missing the deadline. Most people are just they've made that choice for their family. What PEP has done is made that more affordable for people to be able to get that money to make whatever purchases they choose to do. So it is not, they're mad. We've got 170 people that are mad at us. They're pulling their kids out. So I wanted to make sure that y'all are aware that most of the people that I talk to, they have just chosen to do this for their children. They are not leaving based on we've done something wrong or
Let me add something, Mandy. I agree with you. Not everybody is upset
Yeah,
with,
thank you.
with
I believe
Liberty
that.
County School System.
they're just the ones that talk on Facebook.
I talked to a parent today and they pulled their children out to homeschool. He's sad. He's sad. And you know why? Because he loves Liberty County school systems. He went to school here, graduated here. And something happened. And I wasn't aware of everything that happened, at the time. That we came to an impasse that there was just no give, none. Okay? And I am a fixer by nature. I think that people can sit down, have rational conversations and talk and come to some sort of something before it gets to where I'm gonna have to take my kid out of here. Okay? And this person, I think, and I've known for a long time, I just can't see that there couldn't have been something fixed. Some of these kids, and I have done some looking into particularly one of the schools, a lot of it was discipline. A lot of it was discipline because they left. And the kids, I mean, they were, I'm saying they wouldn't behave in the schools and they were parents were constantly getting called and it was finally like, I'm done. I'll just pull them out and take them home, but
Can I,
overall, hold on, overall, we've still got to go back and say, can somebody tell me why? Cause I don't have a clear answer on that. I just don't.
so that's my issue. Is the kid, what you just said, the scenario, kids are misbehaving, not following rules. We got to follow rules. Our job is to prepare them. We
Exactly.
got to have clear lines, clear boundaries. Down at Toller today in the lunchroom, I looked and these kids are coming in so respectful in the lunchroom, eating quiet. I mean, and I looked at Miss Jill. Miss Jill was down there. I said, look how good our kids are. I mean, they were sharing, there was some of them trading some of I mean, it was real pleasant. And I've been in schools where it's just like a zoo, But if they pull the kids out because the kids can't behave, they've done the kids a great disservice, in my opinion. Get the kid to follow the rules. How about that? How about get the kid, because they're gonna have to follow them on the outside.
But maybe the parent needed some help too. And it may. not-
I'm always
okay,
available.
But yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
am always
The
available.
parent,
Yeah.
because you take a bad kid in school,
Yeah,
I guarantee you it's worse at home.
yeah.
A kid's gonna act worse around y'all. I mean,
That's
better
why they're
around
acting
you
up
guys.
here.
They're gonna act better around
Yeah.
you guys than they are with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always said that, oh, she's so sweet. Ooh, she
We
gets me
have
to the house.
services available. Laura's got a whole division there that can work out with these behavioral counselors to work with the home, not just at school, but those RBT people they can establish a behavioral plan at school
Great.
and at home. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things that we even tell our teachers, a behavioral plan is only as good as it's followed.
Right.
So those are, hey, look, I do counseling in that office a lot. I put my guidance counselor hat on, put my pastor hat on, and I'll talk with those. But at some point, there's a real struggle with parents these days, not all of them.
Totally
But
agree.
just
That.
kids, who's in charge here? I used to have a sign in my office at old guidance office where Jeff's at. No is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. So you're right. They're tough at home. And so for the parent, the easy thing is, well, we'll just pull them out and that's not a good choice. And here's the other thing. If parents come and talk to me and say, and I feel like that's what my role is. And I would put really any of those at that table who represent our district, our principals, our school leadership, guidance staff. We've got folks that if somebody says, look, I'm really teetering. Do I need, excuse me, pull my kids, pull my kids out of school or not? I want to have that conversation, but if they pull them out, then they've made, the decision's made.
But
It's already made.
are they pulling them out? Okay, so one kid's over here having problems with a teacher. And they went to the guidance counselor, they talked to the principal, you know, not everything escalates to the big boss. We all know that. I know that. They've tried it, and finally, that's it. I'm done, you know, because they feel like, you know, a lot of times your leader's gonna protect your employees. You're gonna come on the side of your employee. You normally do, all right? So they get frustrated. That's, I think, where what Mason is saying, are we tracking the problem areas? Are we tracking the counseling, the parents coming in and talking and having parent teachers? Are we saying, hey, they got a problem here? I mean, how deep are we getting with this? That we have kind of a window into, this is coming, you know, this is probably gonna happen, guys. Because most of the time, if somebody's gonna pull their kid out to homeschool, you're gonna hear it. You'll hear it.
Mhm.
Because they'll tell you in a parent teacher, I'll just pull my kid out, you know, or I can go to so-and-so and get, you know, we can go to class sizes of 15 versus 28.
Right.
You know, so that's where I think what Mason is trying to say is to dig a little deeper. If there's parent help, if a parent is there's a discipline problem. I don't know how much resources we have when it comes to that type of counseling services to say, hey, the kid's having a discipline problem. They're, you know, and we do have 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike. I get that. But can we help a little bit? I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why these kids, why.
You know, that's one thing, I think, back to the PEP discussion.
Mhm.
So we're talking about allocate those funds. I think what the superintendent's saying is with homeschool off, it's just not directly coming out of their pocketbook. These are funds that they've gotten and they decide how to allocate it. Right?
Correct.
So it's not like doing this, which is well under some of the other districts.
Mhm.
It's not like we're taking money that's in they're earning, it's money that they were given and they get to choose how to allocate.
And I think transparency, like Mason said, with how we came to the figures, we're gonna be under. We know that. You've already said it 50 times.
Yeah.
So transparency with how did we get to these figures? You know, people are wanting to know, like, you're charging $500 a semester. And my question, like he said, is it $500 per sports activity? It's
$250 a semester.
so it don't matter if they play
Talking-
3.
Talking about like the amount of fuel for diesel per game, the amount that refs game, the amount for coaches by the hour that. they
That's
make.
great, Jeff. I hear you. But does the public know that?
I know, but what I'm saying is that the kind of breakdown that we want per sport, per school?
Well, if we're implementing something that's about to dip into somebody's pocketbook,
It's not their. Part.
it is until they get reimbursed.
Well,
Correct or not
Right.
correct?
Side of no, they don't get the money. It
Bill
comes out of their
directly.
account at
Account
step
they
up.
have.
Okay, because I thought they had to get reimbursed.
Well, that's for those they.
For
said
the
they
initial
were
ones.
with, for those
The ones
that-
last year, it just comes out of the account.
Okay. Well, again, is it 250 per sport per semester?
First semester.
$250 a semester. So if they play, let's use a guy's sport since I'm a dude. If I play football and basketball, which goes over into the second semester, I'm doing $250. Oh, that's.
Okay, because it
The
is.
lesser.
I want to say something about that. You got a problem with that though, semester. Cause if you play, I'm gonna play football and basketball, I only gotta play 250. And if somebody just plays football and baseball, they got to pay 500. They're still playing 2 sports. So it needs to be about a sport.
Well, and what if you play football and you get cut basketball? Well, you didn't allow me to play basketball. I want a refund of half.
Yeah, it needs to be
How
by
do you
sport.
handle that? There are some details that do need. to be-
Those are some kinks, but what's present policy is $250 per semester.
Be about a sport.
And then it says if you don't make the team, you wouldn't be charged.
Right.
So, I mean, if you say basketball, you don't make the team, do you not get charged for that 250? So there are some fine tunings, I think, that do need to happen to provide clarity to it. And I understand that, yes, okay, the PEP is the state dollars that goes to the family, but I'm, all right, I'm not going to say this has happened a significant number of times, but it has happened enough to make me be empathetic for what individuals are saying when they say, no one asked me. And again, I love y'all. Y'all do a great job. I think everybody's doing a good job. You're doing your absolute best with the time you have. I just think there's not a policy or practice in place to monitor this. They say, no one asked me why I left. And now you're charging me $250 to have my kid come play athletics. Now, okay, yeah, that $250, I don't disagree. There is a cost for coaching. There's a cost for insurance. There's a cost for bus. I could debate lights and facilities and maintenance because they're kind of open to the public. You can't really debate coaching. But if it is the appearance that we don't care if we haven't formally asked why, and then say, now we're going to charge you for this. It is a confidence in the system and a reputation for the district to show we do care. We are trying to care. We're doing the best we can. Instead of, I know y'all are in the grind every day up here. Y'all are in the grind trying your best to get timelines, schedules, hit grants, hit reports. They're all over the place. There are so many I'm sure that you're dealing with. I ain't got a clue. You're doing the best you can. I get that. But I still go back, if we had something formally where people know that we care, we see them leaving, we want to know why, please tell me why, how can we keep you? And we're tracking it. And on a quarterly, a report's coming to the board so the board can say, you know, we lost 10 kids the last quarter and these are the reasons why. And then somebody says, you know, okay, well, do you even know why kids are leaving? Actually, yeah, I do. I know why every single kid left the district. It's because of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That they say.
Preface all this, this is not a Liberty County thing. Yes, we care about those because those are the students here in our district. A statewide issue with PEP, not something that's isolated just to us that we're talking about. Like
No,
it's only a problem.
The state's promote, and I said, I started this, the governor's promoting it, that this is school choice, and I'm okay, that's his choice, and that, but it is a promotion. It is a promotion that he is doing, saying, you come to Florida, this is what we do in Florida. Is it to help spawn a presidential campaign down the road? Maybe so, maybe so, I don't know.
So-
But it's, it's
Put
one
it-
of his
to put it in
trademarks.
Another light. Business, enterprise, free commerce, industry, capitalism, that's America at its finest. 100% what the United States of America is about. If people stop using Apple, Apple wants to know why. They don't just say, oh, well, it's called Samsung offers a phone too. Apple says, what do you want? What do you need? What are the things that we need to do to innovate to get you to come to Apple, stay with Apple, come back to Apple? I mean, there are millions of people that use Google devices and Pixel and things like that, but Apple says, we want to continue to maintain and gain market share. We're going to do things that we need to do to innovate, to pull people in. And this is pertaining to that. If we are innovative, if we are seeking on how to bring people back, okay, maybe they go, and that's great if they do. They have that choice. I want people to have that choice. It is 100% their God-given right to make choices on how they dictate their families or children are educated. 100%. But it should be our desire when we see that $1.5 million is lost and 170 kids are home. Well, is it because that's what they like, or is it because of something we did? It's as simple as that. Did they want that? And if they did, man, high five. We'd like you to come back to school. There might be a little bit of charge associated with this from athletics because we got to cover coaches and fuel and insurance. Please come and play. We need all the numbers we can get, right? But at least we know what's going on to be able to adapt to that. That's all I'm saying. Just because people stop buying iPhones doesn't mean Apple doesn't care anymore. Just because Google sells them.
People run out of time.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Singletary, would you like to say anything? Running out of time.
I'm all for, kids that don't bring money to the table to the school, so to speak. That doesn't sound good talking about kids, but we've got to receive money and funding to pay for coaches and transportation and insurance and all the other stuff. With it being such short notice, I mean, there's kids that need to have money tomorrow. If they got the scholarship money, I think we need to move forward. My opinion is if they're the traditional kids that don't get the funding, I think we need to maybe wait a little bit to maybe next semester to start charging them and let them get their ducks in a row if needed. But that's my opinion. I think every kid needs to pay something to use our facilities if they're not going to school here. But I don't want to financially strap kids that don't have the funding today. So, but I think that needs to be revisited maybe by, say, January, Christmas, next semester, or the baseball, softball season. That's my opinion.
I'm gonna say, do I like it? No, I don't like it. Is it fair? Probably. That's all I got to say, and that concludes it, workshop. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Bailey, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Keever. Motion adjourned. I'm gonna take a little break right quick. I'll go into